Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's start talking about multiplying integers. If I want to start multiplying integers, that means that I'm going to be taking something like 6 times 2, and so 6 times 2 is going to be 12. Now, of course, I could write it 6.2, that's also 12. I could write 6 parenthesis 2, that's also 12. All those are alternate versions of a multiplication symbol. Now, one of the things we need to remember, though, is what does multiplication really mean? Multiplication is equal to repeated addition. So, for example, if I actually wanted to multiply something, let's take 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Well, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. We end up with 12. So I take 3 plus 3 plus 3, and that's 12. Alternatively, what I could do is I could say that's really just 4 of those guys. 4 whats? There are 4 3's. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is the same thing as 4 times 3. So multiplication is nothing but repeated addition. Okay, so if I have 6 times 2, I have 6 plus 6. Well, 6 plus 6 is also 12. If I were to try to do items, I have 6 items there. I have 6 items here. And so I have 2 rows of 6. 2 times 6 is 12, or 6 plus 6 is 12. So you'll notice it's just repeated addition. If I come up with something like this, 3 times 7. 3 times 7 means I have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and in those rows I have 7 items. So in this case, I have 3 rows, and there are 7 items, so I can count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There you go. And that's going to be 21, which is the same thing as 7 plus 7 plus 7, which is 21. So, what we want to understand is that multiplication isn't something totally different than addition. It's just addition over and over and over and over and over. Now, if I come up with something like the following, 11 times 22. Well, you know what I don't want to do? I certainly don't want to do 11 rows and each of them has 22 in it. Okay, that's not really something I'm excited about doing. So I don't want to do 11 rows of 22. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use my properties of multiplication. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you must know your basic multiplication facts. And in fact, I'm going to put on Canvas a 12 by 12 multiplication table so that if you need to use it for anything, you're allowed to use your 12 by 12 multiplication table anytime in this class that you want. But in this case, I have 11 times 22. That's not going to be on my table. So what are we going to need to do for multiplication? Well, instead of doing it horizontally, sideways like this, let's stack it up and do it this way. Now, if I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to say 2 times 1. Let me switch markers on you. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this spot right here, in the number 22, this is the ones spot. Okay, this is the ones spot. And this right here is going to be in the tens spot. So I'm going to take 2 times 1, put it here in the ones. 2 times 1, 2. But now when I start to move over to this one, because I'm done with that one, 2 times 1. Well, this starts in the tens. So I need to start here in the tens. So I put a 0 here in the ones, move over, start in the tens. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Now I need to put it all together because remember, multiplication is nothing more than repeated addition. So I get a 2, a 4, and a 2, and that is long multiplication. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to be able to do long multiplication. You can still use a math chart if you need for each of these things, but you're going to have to give me the process of long multiplication. That is a reasonable process to expect. So let's go ahead and let's do a your turn session. All right, a your turn session is I'm going to put some problems here on the paper, and I'm going to allow you to hit pause on your player, and I want you to do the problems, and we'll come back and see if you're right. So here are a couple problems. Let's see if we can come up with a few answers. All right, it is your turn. Go ahead and hit pause. Okay, hopefully you hit pause and tried these on your own. I've gone ahead and stacked these up, and I'm going to say 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And I don't need to add anything up because I only had one number to begin with, so that's my answer. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, multiplication is commutative, which means if I have 13 rows of 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 rows of 2, that's the same thing as if I had 2 rows of 13. So 13 rows of 2 is the same thing as 2 rows of 13. And so that also means that if I had 2 times 13, I could do it the same way. Instead of 13 times 2, I have 2 times 13. 3 times 2 is 6. Well, I have nothing else to go, so I'm done. 1 times 2 is 2, and it's 26. So whether it's 13 times 2 or 2 times 13, that is commutative. It works the same way either way, both algebraically, or numerically I suppose, and graphically. Now, 22 times 3, I got 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6, 66. Over here I got something a little bit bigger. I got 3 times 4 is 12. Now, if I have a 12, that's too big, so I need to carry my 1 up here. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the extra 1, 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Now, I'm done with this one, so I put a 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Add them all up. 2, 1, 1, 6, 1. 161, or 1,612. There you go. Okay, that's using all positives. What happens, though, if I change this problem and I make it negative? If, on the other hand, I take this problem and 2b, we're going to call it, and I say negative 22 times 3, well, I'd still do this. I'd say 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is, or it's 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Because if I only have one negative in the problem, it's going to stick around in the problem. If, on the other hand, I have this problem, negative 13 times negative 2, I'm going to end up with positive 26. Because what do two negatives do? Two negatives cancel one another out. That negative and that negative go together to make a positive. So, in review, if I have a positive times a positive, the answer is going to be positive. If I have a negative times a positive, the answer is going to be a negative. Now, by the way, it works in reverse. Positive times a negative, that's negative. And if I have a negative times a negative, well, those two negatives are going to cancel each other out and make a positive. This works in multiplication. It does not work in addition. If you'll remember, in addition, you take whatever's bigger. Okay? So in addition, we have something as follows. Negative 6 plus 8. Which number is bigger? The 8 is bigger. So the 8 is going to overpower the 6 because I have negative, 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 negative. That's 6 of those. Positive, 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 positive. And we have cancel, 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 cancel. Positive 2. So my answer here is positive 2 because the bigger positive outweighed the smaller negative. If, on the other hand, I had negative 7 plus 3, negative, 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 positive, 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 whoop, too many, I just need 3 of them. And so I cancel out, gone, 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 leaving 4 negatives because the bigger number was negative, the answer is going to be negative. But if I take negative 5 times 3, it's going to be 15, and with 1 positive and 1 negative, the answer is going to be negative 15. If, on the other hand, I have negative 3 times negative 10, I'm going to have 30, but 2 negatives make a positive. Okay, so in these cases, in addition and subtraction, whoever is bigger wins. In multiplication, it's the combo. One of each makes it negative. 2 of the same is always positive. Think about it this way. 2 things that are different are probably going to disagree, and they're going to be negative. They're not going to be happy about it. 2 things that are the same, whether it's 2 negatives or whether it's 2 positives, are going to be positive because they're going to agree. They're going to be happy. All right. With that, you have all sorts of quizzes and homework, so get after it.